Are you making God pay for the mistakes of other people? As a follower of Christ, I've come across a number of people who say that they've walked away from Christianity because of the church and how that hurt them. What they usually really mean is that they had a bad experience with some people who call themselves Christians, whether that's a single person or a whole congregation of people in a church. And that bad experience with those people made them offended and bitter with Christians as a whole. Now maybe you're one of those people, and you know what? I don't blame you, and I don't want to minimize the experience that you've had. I just want to ask you to consider for a moment, are you really mad at God, or are you mad at people who claim to be close to God? Let's break this down a little bit. Why did you go to church in the first place? Perhaps it was because you were curious about God. Inside of you, there's this little thing that felt like it wanted to explore what God is all about and find a place where He is. Lots of people come to church to meet with God and have fellowship with other people who want to meet with God, so seems like a logical place to go. Maybe you were invited by someone else that you know, perhaps a friend or a love interest. Maybe that love interest or friendship didn't work out the way that you expected, and that put you off of Christianity. Or perhaps you grew up in the church, and your long-term observation with the behavior of people that you were raised around was that they were hypocritical, saying one thing, speaking great things about God on Sunday or at Bible study, but behaving like hell the rest of the time. I understand, and who can blame you? Christians are supposed to be different. They're supposed to behave better than the rest of the world, aren't they? And when they don't, it makes you wonder if what they have is really any different than everybody else. It makes you wonder if what they have is real at all. But again, is this God's fault, or is this the people's fault? God indeed expects His people to behave with higher standards than the rest of the world, but this is something they can only do with His help, and He does help them with this when they begin to rely on Him and trust and obey His word. Unfortunately, many churches today don't teach people how to trust, obey, and rely on God. Many churches today just try to gain members of what has become a sort of social club. Unfortunately, there are so-called Christians who just refuse to behave as such. They go to church, but their hearts are still black with sin because they've never truly let God clean their hearts. Or if they had previously, they've let circumstance and the cares of the world choke out the life that God had given them. There's a passage in the Bible that talks about these people. In Matthew 13:24-30, it says, "The kingdom of heaven is like a farmer who planted good seeds in his field. But that night, as the workers slept, his enemy came and planted weeds among the wheat, then slipped away. When the crop began to grow and produce grain, the weeds also grew. The farmer's workers went to him and said, 'Sir, the field where you planted that good seed is full of weeds. Where did they come from?' 'An enemy has done this,' the farmer exclaimed. 'Should we pull out the weeds?' they asked. 'No,' he replied, 'you'll uproot the wheat if you do. Let both grow together until the harvest. Then I will tell the harvesters to sort out the weeds, tie them into bundles and burn them, and to put the wheat in the barn.'" The tares or weeds are those people planted in the church by the enemy of our souls to make a bad name for Christianity, a bad name for God and His people. They're in the church because the enemy wants their bad behavior to make the world look at the church and say, "I don't want that." And those people don't usually realize that they're being used by the enemy in that way. But again, I say it's not God that is failing. It's people who fail. God is good, and God is merciful. He is love, and He loves you, and He wants to be in relationship with you, regardless of what people have done in His name. So I beg you, please don't make God pay for what people have done. There are true, sincere Christians who walk in love and trust and obedience to God. Seek those people out. Ask God to connect you to them. Don't let the actions of others affect your opinion of God. If you truly are interested in meeting God, pick up the Holy Scriptures. Start reading the New Testament. You can start with letters of Paul and Peter, Jude, and John. And while you read, ask God to open the Scriptures up to you. The Scriptures say in Matthew 7:7-8, "Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, everyone who seeks finds, and to everyone who knocks the door will be opened. He will reveal Himself to you." Hey everybody, hope you got something out of this video. Hope it touched you in some way or made you think. After all, the purpose of these videos is to help people grow. If you'd like to get notified of new videos when we upload them, make sure you click on that subscribe button. Or you can also follow us on all the different social media channels or on our website. All those links are in the description below.